Hey, it's iCkEdMeL, and we're heading to the Midway Point Vero Beach and then Tampa.
Hi, I'm here today in Dover, Florida. We're here for Veronica. She went missing January 18th. I'm here with her whole family. This is her father, Fidencio, and he would like to say some things.
Hi, I'm as of Friday, so last past Friday, it's been 8 months total, and we got no answers, we got nothing. I asked for anybody who has kids, who can't think of this ever happening to them, but in reality it happens. And we're to the point we got no answers. You know, where she lives is small trailer park. Somebody had to see something, know something. People heard stuff, people talk. So if anybody ever heard anything about it, speak up. Reach us at Facebook, call Hillsborough County Police Department, the investigator's office. Just any tips. You can be anonymous. You don't have to say no names. Just we're to the point we want her home. She got 3 grandbabies. She has 3 children that need her. They ask every day, every time I get them, where mom's at. So please, anybody help with anything, answers. Thank you.
We're here with her whole family. If anybody else would like to speak. Also, there is a reward. If anyone knows anything, there is a reward. This is her son, Ricardo. Can you say hi? Would anyone else from her family like to speak? Ricardo wants to speak.
I've never seen her in 8 months.
You gotta speak loud enough.
I haven't seen her in 8 months since she passed. I couldn't see her. I looked everywhere inside the house. Everywhere. And I couldn't find her. Never.
Would anyone else like to say anything?
I would like to speak. Veronica is my niece. She was my first niece. I became an aunt for the very first time with her. She loves her kids. There's no way that she would have just walked out on them. She had plans that following week. She had meetings with my other sister. She had everything to come back for. If she was going to walk out, if she was going to leave her kids, she wouldn't have come back home to her sister's house and picked up her children and brought them back home. It just doesn't add up. Somebody saw something. Somebody heard something, and you may think that it's nothing. You may think that, oh, it has nothing to do with it. We never know. We never know what could have been heard, what could have been said that day, that you may think that it's nothing, but it has to be. Somebody saw something. It's a small trailer park. It's a small trailer. It just doesn't add up. So if anybody could just reach out to us and help us in anything, like I said, as ridiculous as it may seem, please just any tip would be really, really appreciated. There's a reward out there. You don't have to say your name. You can be anonymous. It doesn't matter. Just reach out to us, please. 8 months is way too long for us not to know anything. 8 months is way too long for her kids to be here without a mother, without knowing anything. So please, if you can help us, we would really appreciate it. Thank you.
Does anybody else want to see anyone else? Veronica, if you see this, we miss you. We love you. I'm so sorry that I couldn't go hang out with you that Friday night. If I could do it all over again, I would be there with you. Maybe things would have been different. Maybe you would have been home. I miss you. And I can't wait till we find you. That's it. We're going to say a prayer. We're going to pray. Okay? We're going to pray. Father, please help the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Department and their investigators to follow the leads in the proper direction, to do all that they can do to find her. Please try and get this family as much peace as is possible at this time. Father, please help us to bring her home. Her kids, Ricardo and Noah and Josue, they need their mom. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Good job, you guys.
You guys did such a good job.
It's beautiful.
Hey, Mommy. Ow.
Oh, you gotta be careful, those things hurt. You need a hand? Is that it? Oh, what a big boy.
That got me.
Oh, it got me hardcore.
Veronica was last seen January 18, 2020, and she was 23 at the time. She has 3 kids, a 1-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 5-year-old. She lived in Dover, Florida, and she lived with her husband at the time. Now, the 1-year-old belonged to both of them. That's their kid. The 4 and the 5-year-old were her kids with another father. I don't know if it was 2 other fathers or just 1 other father.
The family, they are really worried because they say Veronica wouldn't just up and leave her 3 little boys. Veronica Marlon Reyes Diaz's 3 boys still don't understand why their mom hasn't come home yet. She's been missing since the early morning hours of Saturday the 18th.
Veronica's father tells Dateline NBC that she had plans for Friday night, which is the 17th. And the last time she was seen goes on into the 18th, the early morning hours. So she has plans to go to Chili's that night. I'm told Chili's is the restaurant. And so she has the 3 boys, the 1-year-old, the 4-year-old, and the 5-year-old. The husband stays at home with the 1-year-old. Veronica goes and takes the 4-year-old and the 5-year-old and drops them off at her sister's house. It's in Plant City. It's about 15 minutes away.
She's a great mom. She's there for her kids when they need her. If I really think about it, it hurts. But I try to keep my mind off it.
Veronica then heads back home to the house where her husband is and the 1-year-old, and her friend picks her up to go out to the restaurant. At the restaurant, they're there, I'm told, with 3 people total. So it's Mariah, her friend that picked her up, Louis, I'm not sure when he came into the picture. I don't know if they picked him up on the way or he met them there. And then it's Veronica. So it's 3 of them.
On the night of January 17th, 2020, Veronica went out with some friends.
Her, another female, and a male decide that they want to go out to a local establishment. It's a bar / restaurant.
Once that finishes, Mariah comes and drops Veronica back off at home where the husband is at. This is around 1:15 a.m. I saw some reports say 1:10, 1:15. Around that time, she's dropped back off at the house. Veronica then gets in her car and goes to pick up the kids at her sister's house. She picks up the 4-year-old and the 5-year-old, heads back home, supposedly tucks them into bed.
She drives back to her residence. Now, we know that she's fine at about 1:10 in the morning because she stops and picks up her child or her children from her sister-in-law's. She picks them up. She goes back to her residence, and when she gets to the residence, she takes both the children inside, tucks them into bed. Everything seems fine.
She tucks the kids into bed, puts them to sleep, and supposedly, according to the child, because a lot of the story is being told from the husband, and the husband said that in the morning, the child says that mommy got up and walked out, and that's the last time she's ever seen.
He got home at 1 in the morning, picked up the 2 boys, brought them home at 1:45, and then from there, vanished.
Apparently, the husband never heard her come home.
Her husband's asleep in his room with the other child.
They live in a trailer home. He wakes up in the morning around 7, doesn't see Veronica around, and the child, the older child, tells him that mommy went back outside at night. Again, this is according to the husband and the story that was told to police by him.
Her husband told me he woke up about 7 o'clock Saturday morning, and he looked for her and he couldn't find her. So he woke up the oldest son and asked him, no, mama went outside.
Now, I feel like I need to stop here. There's still quite a bit more we got to talk about, like her belongings and the phone pings and things that don't quite add up even with the story. But it's kind of, I don't know, interesting that we're relying on the children for the story, right? The husband never woke up. Now, I found this form, and this is somebody claiming to be Veronica's aunt, which I hear there is an aunt. And according to this post, the aunt says, very little was done at the beginning. Sheriff's office told us we knew where she was and we were doing this for attention. Oldest son wasn't questioned about that night until 4 months later. It was 5 at the time. That's incredible if this is true.
And the 2 children have been interviewed, and they say they hear mommy go back outside. After that, that's it.
To question a child 4 months after, and we're just going to take the story of what somebody said a child said, a 5-year-old, that you can tell them anything and just repeat anything. I mean, I'm not, trying to, but I'm just saying, he was 5 at the time. Husband claims he didn't hear them come home. They live in a single wide mobile home. Boys are awake when they left her sister's house. And she is a loud person. No way he didn't hear them come home. That's according to the aunt. Back to the morning and back to the husband. So the child tells him that mommy last night went back out the house, never came back. So the husband wakes up, goes outside, looks into the vehicle, and all of her belongings except her cell phone was there. So her keys, her wallet, cash were all left inside the vehicle.
Dad says her car, keys, and purse were all left behind.
Her purse was left in the vehicle with money, ID, keys, or not even a charger for her phone.
Only one surveillance camera exists in this mobile home park, and family says all it shows is Veronica's friend's car dropping her off.
Now, I want you guys to tell me if this makes any sense. And we're going to listen to this together. This is what they're saying the husband says. Okay, and if this makes sense to you, keep in mind, now we're getting to talk about the belongings that's found in the car and the cell phone.
He's up in the morning. He realizes that their family car is there, but he doesn't see Veronica. Realizes that that's a little weird. Not weird so much that she's not there, but if she wasn't there, he wouldn't expect to see the car there. Maybe she stayed out with friends or something else like that, but that wasn't the case. So he starts looking around for her a little bit, gets her family involved, actually looks in the car, and in the car, he sees a lot of her personal belongings. Her wallet's there, her purse, ID, and some clothing is there.
if your significant other is nowhere in the home, they're supposed to be home, the car's out front, all of their personal belongings minus the cell phone is in the car, that's not weird? Isn't that a little bit of cause for concern? Does that make sense?
Belonged to her. The only thing missing was her cell phone. Again, he thought it was very strange that why would she leave her purse, wallet, or anything else here, but take her cell phone only. So the family becomes involved, and then ultimately we get contacted and we begin our investigation.
Now, check out this next part. And from what I hear behind the scenes, the family didn't find out until after Veronica was reported missing by the husband. Guess how many days later?
At that point.
The Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office is notified January 20th, 2 days after Veronica is last seen.
Let's hear what the police are saying, or Chad's saying, is why they maybe didn't call prior.
She had a history where she had left before and had been gone for a couple of days. She had even made some comments of, you know, being a mother is just, it's tiring on me. God, sometimes I just wish I wasn't a mother as much, or, you know, I need a break. So I'm sure that the family thought, as well as anyone else, that maybe she did. Maybe she just needed a break. I could understand that, or I could see that for a couple of days maybe, although not normal, but hey, if that's what you need, that's what you did. But we're going on 5 months, 6 months.
So they're saying this is why maybe she wasn't reported missing for 2 days. Now, I did ask somebody about this, and maybe on Sunday we can confirm in person. I was told that that's BS. I was also told that she once stayed at her aunt's house overnight. And so when I looked at the different news clips, this is what the news clip said, and this is what I mean. There's several points of contention.
Hey, has she ever gone away like this before?
No.
The family says her disappearance is completely out of character.
When I speak to the dad and I see how much he cares and I see how involved he is and I see that he's just not written this off as that's just Veronica.
Now let's get back to the phone and the ping and the report of her missing being reported 2 days later.
The Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office is notified January 20th, 2 days after Veronica is last seen.
On the 17th, Veronica goes out to the restaurant. She comes back home in the morning hours on the 18th. On the 18th morning, husband notices that she's missing. Her belongings are there except her cell phone are in the car. And he decides to report her missing on Monday, January 20th. And I wonder where the phone was pinging those couple of days.
Her phone is missing. He says it either died or was turned off Monday night because no messages were going through. No one's heard a peep from her.
For her, leave her kid stranded? I don't see it. You know, her phone's dead, and we can't get through to it. No messages, calls, go straight to voicemail. You know, of course, like any parent, you get concerned and you think the worst of the worst.
Now let's talk about adoption. Okay, it's been reported that the husband of Veronica was going to adopt the 2 children that weren't his biological children. This was the supposed same week that she went missing. The Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday she was reported missing. That week supposedly she had an appointment, or they had an appointment for the adoption to sign the papers.
And it's our understanding that the current husband, even in the relationship that they were having, had plans on adopting the 2 children. So later on that week, keep in mind all this occurred over the weekend that she went missing. Later on that week, she had appointments within the county court system along with her husband to adopt the children. That never happened, obviously. She went missing before those children were ever adopted. So her current husband was going to adopt the children that were fathered by
other men. And to add to that, I was told that he actually did adopt the children that he was able to after, even with Veronica missing. WFLA, they did speak to the friend that gave her the ride. She didn't have any information.
They've reached out to her. They've messaged her. This friend says she doesn't know where Veronica is or what may have happened to her and has not given up any clues as to where she may have gone missing.
As far as were there searches done, well, the podcast from the Hillsborough County, which is affiliated with the police there, they said they did a bunch of searches and looking.
You know, and we've done searches. We've done foot patrol searches. Her family's done searches. We've had horseback. We've had our CERT team out there. We're out there on four-wheelers. There's just been multiple searches of the area and things like that, and we've not been able to locate her whatsoever.
I couldn't find what the podcast was claiming. Maybe it did happen, it just wasn't recorded. Maybe the media didn't cover it. The only thing I personally saw with the media was where they stated the family and friends were at a search.
Saturday, 150 friends and family spent the day looking through woods behind her neighborhood. They found nothing.
Hi, we had to move off of the highway. We're still in Dover, Florida, here for Veronica. She has been missing since January 18th. We want to introduce an amazing YouTuber here, iCkEdMeL.
Hi, I'm iCkEdMeL. I have a YouTube and Facebook, and I started covering Veronica Reyes Diaz's story to try to get attention. And we're here in the Tampa area by, what's the name of this area again? Dover, Florida. I can get it confused. And so we're here to talk to the family. I wanted to learn a little bit about Veronica and some of the questions that people were asking in hopes to bring attention. So we have a family here. Can you tell me a little bit about what Veronica was like? Because there was a podcast where it seemed like it was from the sheriff's office, and they said she had a history of like leaving. Apparently, was that true?
No, only history of her leaving is back in, what was it, December? Back in December, I guess they had an argument or whatever, and she didn't want to come home, so she would cool off. You know, which relationship couples go through issues where one has to cool off or whatever. And as soon as I got noticed that she didn't make it home, I texted her and she communicated with me ASAP.
Okay. But she was with family.
She was with family.
She was
with family.
Right. So this whole situation is completely unlike her.
Exactly. You know, me, like I said, I work about 20 minutes from here, and I travel this road on a day. So at least twice a week, once a week, I would come here, spend time with her, spend time with the boys, and I would show up unannounced.
Okay.
You know, so I know a lot of people ask, well, she was doing drugs or et cetera, but if I showed up unannounced, I would have found her drugged up. She didn't even drink.
Oh, okay.
The day before her wedding, we met her a mixed drink. She drank maybe half a drink and left it. So
not in her character. I want to ask you too, because it was reported that so Friday night she went out with friends to Chili's. Well, what I heard and was told, she disappears in the morning hours of Saturday, like around 1 a.m. And I heard that it was reported 48 hours later that she was missing. Is that correct?
Well, I got according to her Google Maps, where I got access to.
Oh, you have access.
I had access to it. But that computer, we had given back. We had given the sheriff's office for evidence.
Okay.
A month later, when they
investigated a month later.
When they asked for it, a month later.
Oh,
I offered it to them 3 days later after she disappeared. After we went through it and stuff like that, and they refused.
They refused.
They refused the evidence that we tried to provide. It was the cell phone that she used at home on the internet, to text, whatever, and her laptop. And like I said, I was able to track her movement that whole Friday nights, which she went to Chili's in Texas, in Tampa. Her friend dropped her off at approximately 1:05. She got in her vehicle. She left to go pick up her kids from her sister's house.
Not sister-in-law.
No, not sister-in-law. Her sister.
In Pine City.
Her youngest sister in Pine City. She got back about 1:45, and that's all we know. I was at a Chinese New Year celebration that Saturday, thinking everything's okay. Sunday, I wake up, I get a text message, 3:30 in the afternoon, Sunday afternoon. asking me, have I seen her? If I know if she was in my house. So it wasn't us here that reported her late. We just weren't aware till way late. So after the fact. Right. And so we kind of, after he texted me, asked me that, I started texting family, asking family, have you seen her? You know where she's at? You know? And of course everybody went berserk, and we're all, you know, texting the husband, and he's telling us she never made it home, telling us he woke up the oldest son, and the oldest son say, Mom walked out. That she walked out after she put him to bed. And that's the story according to the husband.
So after she put him to bed, supposedly the oldest son told the husband that she walked out at night.
She walked out that night.
Well, that's what the husband says.
Right.
That's
what the husband said.
That's his story.
That's his story.
Okay.
Now, I just want to put in there also, she had made plans with me for Monday. No school day that Monday. She was always at my house most of during the week because we both, you know, both mothers have kids. So we used to hang out a lot during the week. Not even if it was just a phone call, what are you doing, you know? I probably spoke with her 3 times a week the most, you know? And we had plans that Monday to get together, have a cookout with the kids and hang out. You know, so that's another point that I wanted to, you know, address, that she had plans. It wasn't something.
Okay, and she was reported missing on Monday?
On the 17th, Veronica goes out to the restaurant. She comes back home in the morning hours on the 18th. On the 18th morning, husband notices that she's missing. Her belongings are there except her cell phone are in the car. And he decides to report her missing on Monday, January 20th. And I wonder where the phone was pinging those couple of days.
Her phone is missing. He says it either died or was turned off Monday night because no messages were going through.
And Monday we reported it, because like I said, it was already late, and we were trying to gather all the information that we could. You know, I mean, because according to, 48 hours you have to be disappearing before you report, before they do anything. So we reported it Monday, and I had to go to work.
Did you guys report it or the husband?
The husband did.
Okay.
The husband, I went to work, you know, because I was still kind of denial. I didn't want to accept it. And she even told me, she's like, you know, it could be something serious, or, you know, et cetera, whatever. And I just, you know, you don't want to accept it, you know, as a father or whatever, you know, you want to, you know, she's probably with a friend or, you know, whatever. And while I was at work, it hit me hard, you know, the more you think about it. And so he went to report her. It was like a 3 something in the afternoon Monday. He left here at 11 something, took the boys to get something to eat or at McDonald's or whatever. And then they went over there to report her missing. Which, in fact, when he tried to report her, the officer that showed up, female officer, I can't remember her name, practically told them that she shouldn't even report it because she's an adult.
Wow.
But she's gonna do it anyway. It's just to.
So were they taking the case or the missing persons case seriously when you guys first reported?
No.
No.
Like I said, like I mentioned before, when I had the laptop, we went through it and stuff. When I tried to offer it, they didn't want to take it.
Right.
The guy that came out to look into the situation, he wasn't even an investigator. He was just one that they sent out to get info.
Right.
And come to find out, that's why he didn't take it, because he's not authorized to take the evidence. So, and the only reason I found the investigator, because I was in here, I came in here after work. I believe it was Wednesday or Tuesday, after she was reported. I think it was a month later, right?
Yep.
I came in here a month after she disappeared. I'm riding around, and I see a car creeping by her house. Which, of course, I chased him down, and come to find out it was one of the investigators.
Oh.
And, you know, which, of course, I told him exactly what I thought. You know, I wasn't happy a month later, and I finally hit the investigator. But, you know,
so it was a month later before anybody even kind of came by.
Yeah. As far as I know. I mean, I don't know if they got involved before that, but they didn't contact us, family, until I found him.
Right.
You know?
So almost 2 days later, or pretty much 2 days later, reported missing. You had access to the Google phone and accounts. You could see the locations and all that.
Whereabouts.
Where was the last time that the phone was active?
The last time, well, we messed up. I gotta admit that. We were calling and texting every 5 minutes, everybody, family, everybody. caller, which come that Monday night at 9:45. No more calls from them. Okay. You know, it will straight to voicemail, which means it wasn't ringing them.
Were you able to get a location?
According to her Google Maps and stuff, her phone showed it was around this area that whole weekend. The whole weekend it was there.
Monday was the last day that it showed her location, which was again here in this area. Very close. Yeah, very close.
Okay. I want to ask too about the search thing. Okay, first of all, I listened to the podcast that was by the Hillsborough Sheriff Office. They said, you know, they had 4-wheelers, they had horses, like all this stuff works. Did you guys see that for yourselves? Or?
Well, like I said, I get off at work at 12:30 in the afternoon, and I drive this way almost 90% of the time if I'm not taking the interstate. And that day, I came this way because I heard it through the word of mouth on Facebook. You know, people talk, you know, what's going on here, da, da, da. But they had the front closed, they had the back closed, and I drove by. The only thing I seen myself was ATVs.
Okay, so ATVs.
That's all I seen. I didn't see no horse trailers.
Was it one day or a couple of times?
1 day.
1 day.
It was 1 day. And they told, word was out that they were doing a training exercise. That's the word that they had put out in the signs. Okay. Training exercise, etc. Okay. But prior to that, a week after Veronica disappeared, we did our own search.
Right.
And the same part that they searched a month later. They searched it in February.
Okay.
In February.
And in February, you guys gathered together.
We gathered, our family gathered together a week after she disappeared. Okay. And I had called the police station, the guy that gave me the number, you know, and I told them, I said, you know, this is what we have planned. And I called them maybe I would say on the Tuesday, Wednesday of that week. And I said, we plan on doing a search out behind our house that trails. If y'all want to give me some pointers or come join us.
Right.
Help us, whatever. And I got no response. No phone call back, nothing. So we had over 100 people out there with us, friends, people
from the community that was
joined.
Yeah, so the article's like 150 people.
Yeah.
Family, friends. Law enforcement wasn't there with you guys when you did that?
No.
The other thing too, so her belongings were found in the vehicle. Did you actually were able to see it yourself?
Well, by the time I came up here, which was Monday. We came up here Monday. Like I said, after work, so I went to work, and she met me here and stuff. And he was pretty much showing me, you know, this was left here, this was left here, and that shirt that she wore that night.
So that shirt she actually wore that night?
According to his word.
Okay, and then it was found in the car.
It was a red flowered shirt, and it was found in the car, and the tires were on the floorboard. But that's not the shirt she was wearing. What her friend said that was with her
that night.
So she was wearing a totally different shirt.
Oh, the friend said she was wearing a different shirt.
Different shirt.
So did Victoria.
Victoria said so.
Which is the sister that saw her when she picked up the boys.
Yeah. So she said she saw her in a different shirt too.
Correct. Right.
At this point during the interview, Veronica's husband actually drove by while we were doing this interview, and I was told after this interview that he at one point was interested in talking, but then he changed his mind.
Okay, with the car, with the belongings that were found in there, do you know if they did any forensics? Did they check to see any of the stuff in the car?
They didn't do none of that until, what was it? July.
Is when forensics came.
July.
Yeah.
So from January all the way to July is when the first time they came for forensics.
Yeah. You know, by then the vehicle's been cleaned out, house been cleaned out too. I mean, on a personal level, if I did something to somebody and I had that time frame to clean up, etc., we'd be spotless.
Right.
You know.
Did they do forensics in the car and the house? Or?
That was, yeah, in the house.
But by then,
just
he's
a long
had
time.
all brand new furniture.
All new furniture?
Painted. Yeah. And they also questioned Ricardo because they were one of the last the last people to see her. They didn't question the oldest until like
3 months.
No, it was 4 months.
4 months?
It was like 4 months after the fact.
And how old is the oldest?
He was 5.
He was 5 at the time.
It was April. Yeah, because they got a hold of me and asked me to take him.
Okay, because the podcast said he was interviewed, but they never gave a time frame. So it was 2-3 months after?
It was like
3 months later.
3 months later.
3 or 4. At that time, you have time. I mean, I'm a kindergarten teacher. Kids say the darndest things,
Right.
and they don't understand from yesterday and 5 weeks ago. Everything happened yesterday, or if not, they'll say tomorrow.
They have no time frame.
They have no time frame.
A lot of people were wondering too, from when I did the video, people had questions. Did the children, were they able to get counseling and stuff? Because I heard they weren't.
As far as I know, they haven't got no counseling. They haven't got no help. As much as I would like to find them help myself, but I'm not custodial parent, so Florida, state of Florida, grandparents have no rights.
Okay. So, did police talk to the friends that she was with too about the?
Well, it took them a while to reach her, finally get a hold of her, and I think it took them a couple months before she actually talked to them.
Did they talk to the guy too, or?
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's all I have. Do you have anything else that you wanted? Oh, one final thing too. As far as something I heard, rumor, he has custody of all the kids.
Yes.
People were wondering about that.
Yes,
he does.
yes,
Okay, because the podcast too, I think it's important to correct that.
Yes.
They said that he didn't get custody of the kids because they were supposed to have a custody hearing the following week when she went missing.
No, it's not custody.
He adopted.
Adoption. So he does have custody of all kids.
Yes.
He adopted both children.
And she's missing, and he gets the adoption.
Yes. Well, I mean, everything was signed already.
All of it was signed.
Every paperwork was signed. They had a lawyer. Everything was already pretty much done. All they had to do was go in court system for the judge for the hearing. Just found it, and that was it. And I myself personally, I went with him to the court. And the way I looked at it, I didn't want to separate the 3 boys. The youngest one is his, and it's just I wanted to keep the family together.
And also, that was 5 days after she disappeared. So obviously, he wanted the best for the kids, and to keep them together would have been the best.
Right. Now I see how they interact. They love each other.
Yeah, of course. So I spoke up and I told him, asked me if he takes care of him financially, which he does. He's always been good to them and giving them pretty much what they want. So I can't take that from him.
Okay. Well, thank you guys. Is there anything else you want people to know watching, or message that you guys can send out?
No, I mean, if we're Plant City, Dover's a small town.
Right.
I mean, I've heard of girls missing here or there. It never crossed my mind. I just let it slide off. Okay. But when it hits home, that's when it really hits. You might think it'll never happen, but you got to face reality. We're a small town, small city. If we don't unite and come together, this can continue happening. This is not this. I talked to Hillsborough County the other day. There's a total of 700 and counting of missing people in Hillsborough County. So for me to think that they're not taking my case seriously, but when you have 700 cases, it's hard for them to do each one individually on a personal level. So if anybody knows anything, small, big, etc., whatever, speak up. You might you're saving my daughter, you might save your own, you never know. I mean, there could be somebody out there doing stuff they ain't supposed to be doing. 2 weeks after my daughter disappeared, another girl disappeared, Cieha Taylor. So they're probably connected, probably not. We just need to come together as a town and figure this out.
Any little thing will help.
Well, yeah, and back to, I just want to say, and I say it every time, anything, any tip would be helpful. Anything that you saw that night, January 18th, maybe the next day you saw something passing down 60, something that you may think has nothing to do with it. We never know. We never know what it could be. Just anything that you saw that was a little weird and you saw it and you're like, I wonder what that, what's going on there. Just bring it up. Let the Hillsborough County detectives know. That way they can start piecing things together and maybe come up with something, because your little bit of information can come together with somebody else's little bit of information and we can crack this case. We need answers. We need to know what happened to my niece. Her dad needs answers. Her kids need answers. So please, anybody, please help.
Thank you. I think that's it. I really agree with everything you're saying. I think we need to come together as a community because this is happening everywhere, all the time. And the more people stay quiet and don't speak up, the more they know they can get away with it. Because there's just not enough resources, and we need to all come together. Any little detail or any bit of information, it should be reported. And you can do it anonymously too. So that's it. Thank you. Thanks. Thank you.
So this is the trailer park home. The person that I spoke to yesterday told me to go on Google Maps and go to the trailer. So I'm going down to the trailer here. Now, if you saw the video that I posted of the trailer home, this is from 2018. Image captured 2018 November. The place is green. They were living there at the time. I believe there was a roommate too at the time living with them. This place was painted recently. Well, after it was after Vanessa went missing. This whole thing was painted red, and I hear that the inside, all the furniture and everything was changed out. So that's the trailer there. Couple of other things. I have some notes here. So I hear that police did do a search with horses, and there were some SUVs. I guess the family didn't see it, but somebody else saw it. It might have been 1 or 2 days, I don't know, but they did do some sort of search. That's what I heard. Supposedly, too, this person told me that 4 or 5 days before Veronica went missing, the husband took down the video cameras. If you've seen the video that I posted at this corner here, there is video cameras there, and this one I guess didn't have cameras at the time. Supposedly, according to this person too, and again this is all rumors, there was some polygraph tests. One of the tests he took came out as I guess true. The other one came out as, I forgot what the word is, undetermined or something. There's a word for it, I forget. This person also told me, and this is what I heard, when I went to the neighborhood, one of the neighbors told me that the trash days are Monday and Wednesday. The husband reported her missing 2 days later, which was on a Monday, and I hear supposedly he reported her after the trash had come and left. That was another rumor. The current girlfriend that lives with him now, I hear she was 4 or 5 months pregnant. This is rumors. So if that's true, he might have been messing around with this chick while being with Veronica. Probably knew each other beforehand. This person also told me that they were both cheating on each other. Veronica was cheating on Francisco, and Francisco was cheating on Veronica.
It was pretty much, I didn't know that she had already known about the other girlfriend, the first girlfriend that he had already had.
Okay.
Because I know I've seen a lot of comments who were saying, oh, well, how far along is she? How long has he been with the girlfriend he's with now? And I'm like, wait a minute, that's not the first girlfriend.
There was one before that. So he was cheating on Veronica, right? Or were they cheating on each other, or he was cheating on...
They were both cheating on each other.
Right, that's what I heard, yeah.
They were both cheating on each other. It was kind of a mutual kind of thing between both of them.
Well, the problem was, what happened was when we drove up there and I was with Pink Justice, part of the issue was that when we were knocking on doors and handing out flyers and all that stuff, a private investigator called and he told us to leave. Like, he didn't want us there. And he said we were interfering with the investigation, and so the family kind of wanted to follow that, I guess. I don't know, I guess to appease him. So, like, the family kind of called us off a little bit, you know, and so that's why, I mean, I don't know, it's been kind of quiet.
Dad was supposed to try to get custody of the grandchildren, and because they were scared that, I guess, the husband was going to run off with the kids or something. I don't know. And then, as far as I know, nothing ever happened.
Those are the rumors. And then supposedly that night that they went out to Chili's, because Veronica, her friend Mariah picked her up, and then they went to Chili's, and at some point Lewis joined them. Supposedly I hear that was actually a date. I was told Lewis was like a longtime friend of Veronica. I'm hearing that night was actually a date, and supposedly Francisco found out about that. I don't know exactly when he found out. Supposedly went through some sort of laptop. It's also rumored that Francisco has, well, I think this is all rumors. He may have kids with other people. Like, obviously this one's pregnant, but like outside of these kids that you see here in the videos. The night that Veronica went missing, I was also told that she was stopped by police in front of Plant City High for a busted taillight, and she got a warning. So it was either when she went to go get the kids or when she dropped them off. So police saw her that night too. Veronica's sister Victoria, supposedly didn't want Francisco to adopt the kid. I hear Francisco has his own business supposedly. I don't know if that's true. Does flooring, carpeting, and the inside of that trailer was painted inside and out, carpet and furniture redone. The other thing I was told and what I heard was that right across the other side of this fence, at the time, I was told that a was living there. This is a rumor from the person that I spoke to, and that this person moved out 2-3 days after Veronica went missing. Cieha Taylor, a woman that went missing February 6, 2020. Old case up North Florida, Plant City. And I was supposed to cover this a while back because when I covered Veronica Reyes Diaz, this woman went missing in Dover, Florida, which is like not far away. And literally when you put in the locations of where Cieha's car was last seen and where Veronica was reportedly last seen, when she supposedly walked out of the trailer and was never seen again, it's about 20 minutes apart. Not saying that these cases are related, but many times both of these names have come up. I would say probably because of the distance, 20 minutes apart. I would say that because Veronica went missing January 18, 2020. Cieha went missing February 6, 2020. And so the time and the distance. And there's another tidbit before we get into all the details, and this will make more sense to you after the fact. But with Cieha, with the police officer that found her car, and we're going to get into the details of that, but he takes her car from the railroad, an abandoned car, mind you, with the door ajar.
Her car was found abandoned with all of her stuff inside on some train tracks on Trapnell Road in Plant City.
Facing not even vertically, like when you're driving, it was horizontally, according to Unfinished Business, with her belongings in the car, her cell phone on the floor, car's doors open, and the cop's like, I'm just gonna take this car and pull it over and close the door and leave, right? Set that aside for a minute, right? Because we're going to get into that. Veronica, the night that she went out with her friends and she had to drop off 2 of her kids at her sister's house while the husband, Francisco, stayed home with 1 of the kids. I'll put the links down below if you want to see that story. That night, okay, after she's out with her friends and she goes to pick up the kids from her sister's, somebody locally called me. Somebody that literally lives in the area. I'm just going to leave it at that as far as identification. This person called me and told me that Veronica was pulled over by police that night for a busted taillight and got a warning. So you have an idea of some of the locations that I'm talking about. This is Dover, Florida. This is where Veronica lived and resided. Now, Plant City is right next door to Dover. And so Plant City is where Cieha's car was found and where the guy was living, the boyfriend's friend. We'll get into that in a minute. And I mapped out some of the locations, and just so you can try to kind of understand what I'm talking about. So Veronica lived over here in this area, Dover, and the person that called me on the phone alleged that she was pulled over by Plant City High School for the busted taillight. That was a rumor. I don't know if it's true or not. And so over here, this is where Cieha's car was found by the train tracks. And, well, the only thing is I wasn't sure because that night Veronica, when she went out with friends, she went to Chili's. So I don't know if she went to this Chili's here, which this is considered Brandon, Florida, or if she went to the Chili's by Plant City High School, which is right here. Veronica also has a sister that lives in Plant City. That's where she dropped off the kids.
Dad says her car, keys, and purse were all left behind.
Her purse was left in the vehicle with money, ID, keys, or not even a charger for her phone.
Her keys, her phone, her license, her debit card, everything was in her vehicle.
That's the only things that I just see for the people that, you know, because both of the names were brought up and I just thought I'd put that out there. I don't think I've announced that publicly. I might have said it in a member's video. A cop stopped her and then she goes home, supposedly goes inside the house, and the kid supposedly says she stepped out and never returned. Cieha Taylor, let's get into this. Now I have to say before we start that the Facebook page that's being managed for Cieha Taylor, which I believe is the family, I was kind of impressed. I went today to look at it after looking at several news media articles, and I was like, this is the most detailed information that I've seen. And not only did I just take the information they posted as you know, as is. I actually referenced it with a lot of different news media articles and referenced it with Unfinished Business, which we're going to listen to that also in this video. And you have to keep in mind that Unfinished Business is the actual police, Hillsborough County. I believe they're doing like some sort of podcast. A brief description of Cieha from the family's Facebook. Cieha's 5'6", weighs around 180 pounds, has several tattoos, an infinity symbol on her upper chest, a large rose and stem on her inner forearm, a ladybug on her ankle, double X's with a rose on her back of her shoulder, and a faced sun on her upper outer thigh. Now I'm going to get into the details of what the family posted on Facebook. I thought it was the most detailed information out of all the articles, and so I'll just read that. Cieha was last seen in Plant City, Florida around 4 p.m. on Thursday, February 6, 2020, dropping her boyfriend off at his friend's house off Colward and Trapnell Road. Supposedly, the last people who saw her that day were her boyfriend, his friend, and the friend's father. They have been interviewed by detectives. So a quick side note, Cieha is from Dade City originally, and her boyfriend lives in Plant City, but he lives with his friend and his friend's parents, from what I gathered. And according to Unfinished Business, they were the ones in multiple articles to last see Cieha when she left, and she was supposed to be going back to Lakeland where one of her friends stayed. So just painting that picture a little bit for February 6th. We're going to revisit this. On Thursday, February 6th, around 7 p.m., because around 4 p.m. she leaves the house. Around 7 p.m., Cieha's car was found running abandoned on the train tracks less than a mile from her boyfriend's home. So it was really close, from Colward and Trapnell to this other location where it was by a farm. It was like really, really, really close. The driver's side door was open. Her phone was found on the ground next to the car on the train tracks. All right. A Plant City police officer came on scene, and we're going to get into why he came on scene. It wasn't just random, according to Unfinished Business. Cieha's license plates were not ran by the police officer. The police officer got in her vehicle, moved her car with her belongings inside, moved it to the side of the road, and locked the door. They haven't released the officer's name from February 6th, but I don't know. Was it just a gaffe, just stupidity? I just can't imagine a police officer, not even just a police officer, a person, a regular person. You see an abandoned car, you're driving, there's a car like this on the road with the door open, belongings out, which there was a person that reported it, according to Unfinished Business. And you're not going to be like, maybe I should call the cops. Or if a cop comes and be like, maybe I should run the plates, maybe I should look into this. Doesn't make any sense. Defies logic. Supposedly on the Facebook page, they say that there is an internal affairs investigation going on, but they haven't released any information. They've asked several times. It's a little interesting that they won't release the officer's information or name. I just wonder why. If it was really innocent and just by mistake, why can't we put his name out there? I don't know. Also, the family stated that these railroad tracks, the train tracks, they were under maintenance, and so there hasn't been any trains like running on those train tracks for about a year. According to the family, between February 6th and February 9th, in the meantime, they began calling Cieha's phone multiple times and reaching out to friends, trying to see who had seen her or spoke to her, still not knowing her vehicle was abandoned on February 6th. Her vehicle was not found until Sunday, February 9th, by a family friend. At that time, a missing person report was filed. Here's another detail of the case, which is kind of like the kicker. And by the way, Pink Justice, when we went to see Veronica and her family, we did that video that I put together, and their family was so kind. Like, they made us a part of the family. Went out to their home. We ate in the backyard. Beautiful family. After all that, we drove by these train tracks. They took me in person, and I saw the train tracks. And at the time, I didn't know the story too much or the details. I just heard things here and there. I wish now I had the opportunity to kind of like look more, but not that I would find anything, because it's been looked at so many times apparently. The Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, Cieha's family, and Homeland Security have done multiple searches of the area where the vehicle was found abandoned and around the area where the boyfriend lives. Nothing has come from those searches. Police searches included canines and helicopters, and I saw from the Unfinished Business, they said bloodhounds. Cieha's family told Dateline that about 3 weeks after, or February 26th, that her shoes were discovered on a drainage pipe alongside the road near the railroad tracks. That's according to the news article. But the family stated that it was found near a light pole and that had a flyer announcing her disappearance hung on a post next to the shoes. So it's almost kind of like mocking. From what I've heard, people believe that the shoes were put there after the fact because this place had been searched so many times by the family and police and all that stuff, and they never saw this. And then now, 3 weeks later, February 26th, the shoes and a missing flyer, like right there, almost like taunting. So police recovered the shoes, and they were confirmed supposedly by Kaya's mother that they were her shoes. According to Oxygen, though, Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office declined to confirm whether the shoes have been found or not. I guess because it's a case and it's tight-lipped and some of these things they don't want to release. It's an active investigation. So they didn't confirm it, but the family says, yes, her shoes were found. And the people that I've spoken to, I said it was found. So let's get into unfinished business, which fills in some more details, some more of the gaps, whether I'm not sure if it's accurate or not. And so February 6th, Kaya takes her boyfriend to the friend's house, which I believe he was living at 4 p.m. A couple hours later, her car is found abandoned, and this police officer moves the car to the side of the road.
Authorities tell 8 on your side the Dade City woman was leaving a home around the corner on Cowart Road Thursday, the 6th, in the late afternoon. Early that evening, family says a law enforcement officer found her black 2000 Toyota Solaris sitting empty on railroad tracks, the engine running. It was moved to the side of the road a few feet away, turned off, and left with Kaya's things inside.
So we're going to listen to the Unfinished Business podcast. I took a couple of notes. I listened to it previously. This was posted August 3rd, 2020.
Hillsborough County detectives have searched the area she was last seen, tried to track down anyone who saw Kaya, and searched for surveillance video.
Unfortunately, hasn't really helped us.
She had a passion for life, always has.
Cieha Taylor remembers her daughter Kaya as a little girl who loved the outdoors, reading, and makeup.
She was bubbly. When she went anywhere or anyone met her, they were captivated by her because of her sweet and loving personality. She would wake up, and if she even seen me in a bad mood, she'd ask me, what am I grateful for today, to try to change your way of thinking.
As Kaya grew up, her mom is very honest as she explained that Kaya wasn't perfect. She did experiment with drugs and, according to her mom, fell into the wrong crowd. On February 6, 2020, Cieha Taylor was living in Plant City with her on-again, off-again boyfriend and one of his friends.
She left that residence around 4 p.m. approximately that day, and that was the last time someone physically saw her. We've spoken to the boyfriend and his friend, and actually that friend's parents, whose house they were at that day, and the parents didn't have much interaction with her at all. Just basically saw her leaving, but from the interaction she had with her boyfriend and with the friend, she was acting not normally as she normally would. They described her as more erratic and possibly going through some type of mental crisis of some sort.
And that behavior is not only expressed to you and other detectives by those two individuals, but also another friend who spoke to her on the phone shortly after she left that residence.
Yes, that's correct.
So that's the friend, the Lakeland friend. They're gonna talk about it now. Supposedly also said that she was acting weird, not herself.
In the investigation, we were able to get a hold of Cieha Taylor's cell phone. We've downloaded the phone, and we've ended up going out and speaking to the last couple of people she spoke with, and kind of going through a timeline of who she would have spoken to, and speaking to a friend of hers whose house she was staying at in Lakeland, she was actually supposed to go to that friend's house that day. She had also expressed that Kaya was definitely upset.
So that was 2/6/2020. Supposedly supposed to go to Lakeland. It was a little confusing to me. I'm not really. They said, and speaking to a friend of hers whose house she was staying at in Lakeland. So it's kind of like, which one is it? Because at the beginning they said Cieha Taylor was living in Plant City with her on-again, off-again boyfriend. And what I read somewhere is that she sometimes stayed with the boyfriend, and maybe this is the other place she stayed at. No, not sure.
Or it wasn't normal for her.
Cieha Taylor never made it to that home in Lakeland, and it would still be a few days before the official missing persons report made its way to HCSO. But even before the report, HCSO gets a clue of Kaya's trail that night.
On the 6th, a citizen called in a vehicle that was abandoned on the railroad tracks on Trapnell Road. It's going to be between Jap Tucker Road and this Foxy packing plant, basically right there in the 900 block of Trapnell Road. The citizen stopped thinking that it was possibly a car broken down, but what was odd about it was the vehicle was actually facing northbound on the railroad tracks, and the vehicle was running at the time. There was nobody seen.
So that northbound, when I looked on the map, it's like facing almost like this, like, you know, which is weird. You know, it's not in the direction you're driving.
Around the vehicle at the time when the citizen stopped. The sheriff's office and the Plant City Police Department responded to the scene, and obviously the fact that a vehicle is obstructing railroad tracks, it's an active CSX line, the decision was made by the officer and the deputy to move the vehicle off the tracks, and they secured it on the side of the road.
As we look back at this timeline, Detective Florio says 3 days later is the next key moment.
So, I mean, this whole situation with on the 6th, that a citizen calls the police, they come there and they move the vehicle. Like I've stated multiple times, that's just kind of crazy to me that they could see that and just think, okay, I'm just going to move it to the side and that's it, not follow up and do anything else with it. And so the vehicle just stays there. And so here we go to the 9th, February 9th, which is kind of interesting, weird details that they gave us about who found the car.
So on the 9th is when the boyfriend's mother comes to drop some belongings off to the friend's house and notices Cieha Taylor's vehicle parked on the side of the road. The mother informs the boyfriend about it, and he comes up there and says, oh, you know, something's wrong. She left the house on Thursday, and they ended up getting in contact with the friend whose house it was in Lakeland. She comes over to the area. The decision was made by the people at the vehicle at the time to drive the vehicle to Dade City, where Cieha Taylor's mother lives. They ended up contacting AAA to open the vehicle for them.
And, you know, once your detectives were able to get a hold of this vehicle, what was significant about what was either left behind or that you were able to take from the car?
Well, for one, her cell phone and her purse with all of her personal belongings inside of it were still in the vehicle.
And for Mom, that was a red flag.
As soon as I knew the phone.
I mean, for anybody, that would be a red flag. It should have been a red flag when the officer first came to move the vehicle. I mean...
And the keys were in the car. I was worried.
Detective Florio says they searched the car from top to bottom.
We did a thorough search of the vehicle, evidence processing wise. I know that we actually had that vehicle on the 10th and continued to process it for several days, going back to it several times to include fingerprint processing, alternate light source processing, different forensic techniques to see if there's any clues left behind.
And were there any?
We recovered some fingerprints, but they were all known people to have been in the car. I know specifically that we were able to identify Cieha Taylor's fingerprints in the car. Her friend's prints that drove the vehicle to Dade City. That's not uncommon, nor would it raise a suspicion, because these people obviously had been in the car in the past.
The official missing persons report is filed February 10th.
Most of the detectives in the homicide section at some point have touched this case. Whether it be going out looking for surveillance video, we've knocked on neighbors' doors up and down, north, south, east, and west of that location, looking for surveillance video. We recovered from local businesses in the area video that unfortunately hasn't really helped us. There were some leads that came out of that traffic survey. Unfortunately, they haven't really come to any type of conclusion on it. They pretty much hit a dead end. People have called in multiple tips of possible sightings. Every one of those tips has been run down. Unfortunately, none of them have been accurate.
And here we are, cold case, no leads as far as I'm aware, and a lot of questions, not many answers, and a bunch of theories. I have no idea, you know, what could have happened. There's thoughts, but just no idea. Now, the police officer just moving the vehicle to the side and leaving it like that, and it was found days later, that was crucial. I mean, the person literally helped out, it was to the benefit of whoever did whatever to Kaya. I mean, I saw a lot of different theories too, where people were thinking maybe she was on something and she just ran off. But if that was the case, I would think that they would have found her body, around that area somewhere. Just the circumstances is very bizarre. The door left open, phone on the floor, all her belongings inside. One other little thing that I noticed, just in observation, because I saw people posting on Reddit, I believe it was. This post was from April 18th on the Finding Kaya page. And one of the things they mention here is that is Kaya dropping off her boyfriend at a friend's house on Cowart and Trapnell. The only persons that saw her were her boyfriend and his friend. They have been interviewed multiple times by detectives. We have been told that he is not a suspect and his story pans out. We have not been privy to these questions or information was provided during those interviews. This case is still an open investigation. So if you look back in April, you see that portion like that. And if you look at the more recent post from October 29th, and we look at the same area of facts, it looks like they made some slight modifications. And now, so it says, Kaya dropped off her boyfriend at his friend's house off of Cowart and Trapnell. The last people who saw her that day were her boyfriend, his friend, and her friend's father. They have been interviewed by detectives. We have not been privy to what questions or information have been provided. Now, I thought that was a little significant because in the Reddit forums, people were saying that, well, the boyfriend has been cleared because of this post. People were literally posting this post and saying that he's cleared, he's not a suspect, and he's been interviewed and whatever. And so now I just noticed that there is a bit of a change in the wording. Could be nothing, could be something. Hey, it's 2021 Mel, current Mel, today Mel, and I hope that you enjoyed this video that I put together. This is from like September 2020, where I met with Pink Justice. It wasn't the first time meeting them. I actually met them for Layla Cavett, which is another story that we may be touching on again in the future, depending when the trial starts. But if you like this kind of content and you like that I just put everything all together in one, all the things that I did with this story, let me know, comment down below. It's been a couple hours today putting this video together. I didn't just literally slap it all together. I literally went second by second through all of the videos and organized it and cut out stuff that didn't need to be there, trim things. I put members portions, like that phone call, that was a members only video, and the other part where I went through the trailer park on Google Maps and I talked about some of the things, that was a members video also. So I hope that this made it kind of more concise. I do have some bonus video that I've never shared before as well that I've saved on my hard drive, so I'm going to share that with you right now with regards to the Veronica Reyes Diaz in-person tour. Also, just excuse the audio because I didn't know what I was doing back then when I first got the camera. What's this next to in this area? That's just another community or something, or somebody's houses? Okay. Oh. Oh, okay. This is where Veronica's in? Oh, okay. So this is the place. Right at the corner. Front of the office. Oh, that's kind of creepy. There. So how many rooms is like in this kind of thing? There's 3 rooms in there? Oh, it is kind of big. Yeah, that's really incredible. It's kind of hard to believe that it's such a close, tight-knit, and nobody heard nothing or saw anything. Still, though, yeah, but wow. Throughout the rest of this part of the video's too shaky. The audio's no good. Like I said, I didn't know what I was doing. But basically, we walk around the entire mobile home park, and what they were telling me is that one side has cameras and the other side doesn't. So when you come in, this one side here, I believe there's cameras. But if you get in the vehicle and you leave and you go around the other side of the park and come out the other way, nobody would see you leaving or coming in.
When you come in, you can go either this left
Right.
or straight. Towards the complex, we have no cameras.
This way here have no
Yes,
no cameras. Okay. So Veronica wasn't seen coming in alone?
Yes.
She was? They just didn't release it. The video. I mean, I saw that the friend was dropped her off.
In the broadcast, you can see when they showed that they were going to do it, you can see the vehicle coming in.
Isn't that her friend dropping Veronica off?
No,
That's Veronica dropping. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So she's coming back with the kids and then. Okay. So the point being is, if somebody knows what they're doing, like lives in that area, or somebody in this park had something to do with it, and they wanted to move her, or something happened, because over here there should have been some sort of cameras. I don't know that this was working now. They had a camera at one point, I was told, and then it was taken down. I don't know why. But whoever did anything, what they would have to do, I guess, unless they were taken out through any of these, through the bushes or the trees, is they could come out this other way. If the person knows the area, to avoid cameras, they would go out the other way and come out this way to do what they needed to do. Veronica and the husband and kids, they lived right by this dumpster, okay? And this is right by the front office. And that building up ahead with the yellow and the brown and the white, that actually had a camera. But the front office says those cameras weren't working. I mean, this place, for something to happen to Veronica and nobody can hear it, it's kind of crazy. But what I did notice is that a lot of the neighbors, they were afraid to speak up and say anything, it seemed like. You can also see on Veronica's place that there's some cameras there. And I believe what I was told, if I remember correctly, supposedly these cameras are not working. So, pretty convenient. The trailer home cameras are not working. The office cameras is not working. Nobody heard anything supposedly. And strange. And I hear this community doesn't really like or afraid to talk to police or investigators. And, there might be a lot of people there, that may not have the correct status.
Taking a minute to walk back to the car to get some gum for the kid. The oldest child, the 6-year-old, spoke to me, and he walked up to me. I wasn't recording. I wish I was. I had stopped the camera, but he walked up to me. He's really smart. He's 6 years old now. In the video, I said he was 5 years old at the time. He came up to me and corrected me, and he told me, "I'm not 5, I'm 6." And then he told me his mother's missing, and that his mother was, and I don't know, that was really, really kind of touched me. It was really heartfelt. And I changed the subject, and we talked about school. He's homeschooling. He's doing virtual school. He does recess. They learn to write and all this stuff. He's a really sharp and smart kid. I was really surprised how just smart he was, intelligent. So, yeah.
Hello. I didn't record.
Is it in picture mode? What mode are we in? Oh, it's recording. You did hit record. You already know how to use the camera. Flowers.
Peluche.
Peluche.
Herman. Look. So you record.
You can record and you can take pictures.
Puppy.
My experience with this family was just really touching, heartfelt, good kids. The family really cared. It was something I've never experienced before, to meet a family in person of a missing person like that, and to see them like literally build this banner. It was just kind of really a beautiful thing, and walk throughout the neighborhoods. And they invited me and Pink Justice over to their home after all of this. And I had cactus for the first time, and we had like a barbecue in the backyard. And I figured, since now I have a little bit And I figured now, since I have a bit of a bigger audience and a lot of the things that I've done are kind of, I guess because I had a smaller audience, they just didn't get the viewership or the audience that it should. So now that I've gained a bit of an audience, and thanks to, the coverage of Gabby in that, terrible situation, but it's also found so many people, I might start doing this when I can, recapping some of the other missing person stories that I've gone in depth, deep dived, and recap it. All right. So please hit like, subscribe, turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate you guys. Take care and peace.